Tuan Luang's head snapped toward a noise in the distance. "How? Over here! Help me!" he screamed, spotting his savior. Captain Long Hao of the Capital Guard halted his patrol and looked over. Tuan Luang pointed a shaking finger directly at Li Yunxiao. "I don't give a damn who you are," Long Hao said, stepping forward. "You've got two ways out of this, and neither is pretty. First, crawl to my friend, beg for mercy, leave the girl and the cash, then vanish. Or second, I break you and let you rot in a cell. You've got 3 seconds. Tick-tock." Tuan Luang smirked, finally snatching the gold from the ground. "Told you I had friends in high places," the rat barked. "Next time, learn to recognize your betters before you open your mouth." He didn't even see the movement. Li Yunxiao's boot connected with his stomach like a sledgehammer, sending him flying toward the guards. "Hey, Hao, my center. It's gone," Tuan Luang wheezed, clutching his gut. "He broke me. I'm a nobody now, completely crippled." "You've got a death wish, kid," Long Hao roared. Li Yunxiao just smiled. "I'll take option 2. Lead the way to the dungeon. I could use a vacation." Meng Wu gasped, stunned by his recklessness. Infuriated, Long Hao drew his blade and lunged with murderous intent. "Rot in hell," Long Hao screamed. He knew if his friend stayed a cripple, he'd be the one facing his father's belt and the master's wrath. Meng Wu's eyes went wide, but the fury on Long Hao's face suddenly drained away, replaced by pure, unadulterated shock. This can't be happening," he stammered. Li Yunxiao had stopped the descending steel dead in its tracks with just 2 fingers. Her jaw hit the floor. He caught a heavy military blade with nothing but his fingertips. It defied every law of combat. Li gave him a pitying smirk. Long Hao realized then that he wasn't dealing with some arrogant kid, he was dealing with a monster. "Try this on for size," he barked, channeling his energy. The crescent moon blade began to glow with a lethal, shimmering light. A wave of raw power sliced through the air. Li stepped back effortlessly. "A mystic blade?" Meng Wu whispered, her heart racing. Those were legendary tools, forged by master smiths and worth more than a small fortress. You couldn't just buy something like that. "Forged from deep-sea frost iron," Long Hao bragged. "Crafted by the legendary level 2 master, Luang Van Vu himself. You're only the 3rd soul to see this blade's true form. Consider it a privilege to have your blood on this steel." He charged again, swinging with everything he had. Li Yunxiao didn't even flinch. His expression remained bored. "A piece of junk held by a loser," Li remarked, cracking his neck. He slipped past the strike like he was walking through a park. Long Hao was swinging at shadows. In a heartbeat, Li was inside his guard, closing the distance before the captain could react. Li flicked a finger, sending a bolt of pure energy forward. Long Hao barely managed to get his sword up to block the impact. With ice in his eyes, Li unleashed a barrage of strikes against the metal. Long Hao felt the vibration rattling his very bones. "What are you doing to my sword?" he shrieked. The glowing aura flickered and died as the weapon reverted to a dull, ordinary piece of iron. He swung like a madman, waiting for the power to return, but the blade remained cold and lifeless in his hands. "It's dead. My entire fortune. Gone," he whimpered. He'd spent years of savings and begged for favors just to own that single piece of gear. "Is that it?" Li asked, his voice dripping with boredom. "I was hoping for a challenge. Show me what else you've got." Driven to insanity by the loss, Long Hao turned to his men. "What are you waiting for? Cut him down. Kill him now." Li just sighed, shaking his head at the group charging him. "Just a bunch of bottom feeders," he muttered, readying himself. I moved like a blur, landing a heavy fist and a snap kick on every single goon. Watching them drop, Meng Vu's jaw hit the floor. This wasn't a brawl. It was a rhythmic slaughter. "Meet the 100 Flowers faltering fist," I whispered, barely breaking a sweat as I struck. It's a legendary style born from a fallen emperor named Vien Si Tia. His existence was a chaotic mess, a tragic masterclass in rebellion. He was a brilliant failure, a madman who lived on the edge of insanity. Yet, his raw power and genius were absolutely unmatched. His gift was a curse to his enemies. The secret lies in the faltering rhythm. It's unpredictable, hitting precisely where they never look. The thugs scattered like dry leaves in a storm. I pinned Long Hao, snapping his wrist back while eyeing his wicked-looking blade. "A bit rusty, but this steel's worth a fortune," I sneered. "Got any other toys for me?" Before he could answer, I stomped down. His tibia snapped with a sickening crack. Long Hao collapsed, howling in agony. "My father is the Imperial Guard commander. You're dead. I'll slaughter your entire bloodline for this," he shrieked. I just tilted my head, unimpressed by his hollow, desperate threats of genocide. "Be my guest," I challenged. "Bring your best men to my doorstep. Let's see who ends up in the ground first." Suddenly, 2 riders approached. The state sentinels reined in their mounts, demanding to know who started the chaos. Long Hao wailed. "Captains, help! I'm a 3rd Battalion commander. This psycho attacked an officer of the crown," he begged, clutching his broken leg. Arrest him! He's trying to murder a government official! Captain Hui Kwang glared, his golden badge glinting. Who dares defy the law? Hui Min barked, drawing his weapon. Drop that blade and surrender now. Put your hands up, kid. I stood my ground, unfazed. No questions, no trial, just siding with the loudest crybaby in the street? How can you be sure I'm the villain? I countered. Hu Kwang roared. The guard serves the emperor. We don't frame common street thugs. He sized me up, seeing only a 2-star novice. He couldn't fathom how a 3-star commander and his squad were dismantled so easily. Dismounting in a flash, Hu Kwang lunged at me. If you won't submit quietly, I'll have to break you like the rest, he snarled. Fine, let's play, I muttered. I gripped Long Hao's stolen saber, channeling my essence until the blade began to hum with lethal power. A searing arc of energy sliced toward Hai Kwang. His eyes widened. How could a mere 2-star brat project such a terrifying blade aura? Hui Kwang countered with a frantic strike. Our energies collided in a deafening crack, the shockwave nearly knocking him off his feet as he landed. Panic flickered across his face. A mystical weapon, he breathed. No wonder you're so cocky. You're hiding behind a high-tier artifact, aren't you? The stolen blade shimmered with an eerie light in my palm. Hui Kwang's expression shifted from shock to pure, unadulterated greed as he stared. That steel is mine, he thought. He leveled his sword at me. Too bad your little reign of terror ends here and now, kid. I surged forward. End this? I'm just getting started. These guys were an entire rank above me. I couldn't afford to play defense. If I didn't seize the initiative immediately, their raw power advantage would flatten me like a bug. I had to strike first and fast. Hui Kwang drew his steel, screaming, You want a grave? I'll dig it. We clashed, a whirlwind of sparks and steel at point-blank range. My speed was blinding. As our weapons collided, the sheer force of my momentum sent Hui Kwang reeling, his footing completely blown away. I vanished from his sight, executing a shadow step. I reappeared in his blind spot, launching a flaming kick fueled by pure demonic speed. My heel connected with his ribs. He crumbled, gasping for air. Seizing the opening, I leaped high, bringing the blade down like a guillotine. One solid hit to break his spirit. I had to keep him suppressed so he couldn't tap into his full cultivation potential. Damn you! He roared, rolling away. You asked for this. He unsealed his own weapon, the diamond saber, which erupted in a blinding white light. Crimson and azure energies slammed into each other as we traded blows. The impact sent tremors through the ground, forcing Hui Kwang to stabilize himself. What's happening? Why is my blade cracking? He stammered. I didn't give him a second to breathe, pressing my advantage with relentless strikes. I lunged again, but Hui Min screamed a warning. He bolted from his horse, a streak of armor and steel coming to his partner's aid. Hui Min's blade whistled toward my spine, but it only cut through air. I was already gone, leaving nothing but a flickering shadow behind. Idiots! I shouted, appearing behind them. I baited you both into the kill zone. Now, let's see you survive this. Hui Min gasped. You set a trap for both of us? Hui Kwang's face paled. You think you can take us both out at once? He was terrified. A 2-star kid shouldn't be hunting 2 veterans. Usually kids like me ran away. They didn't try to become executioners. For the first time, he felt the cold breath of death on his neck. Enough games, the brothers roared, bracing themselves for a final stand. They synced their auras, manifesting the Sentinel's wrath. A massive lance of pure light formed between them, aimed directly at my chest. I didn't see a tag team move coming. The energy arrow shredded through my defenses before I could even blink, closing the distance in nanoseconds. I threw up a desperate block, eyes slamming shut. My meticulous plan had just hit a brick wall. I'd miscalculated the price of their desperation. The blast hit me like a freight train. Crimson sprayed the air as my grip failed, the stolen saber clattering uselessly onto the cold stone. I skipped across the pavement, my body a broken mess. The crowd winced at the sound of my bones hitting the floor. It was brutal. I lay there, bleeding out in front of a stunned Mongvu. She couldn't believe I'd actually pushed 2 legendary sentinels to their absolute limit. He managed one last desperate strike, then shouted for me to run even as the impact sent him flying. What was happening? I bolted in a blind panic, my mind racing to find help. Behind me, Long Hao roared, She's escaping! Catch her now! Long Hao spun around to find his men out cold on the pavement. 2 elite guards stepped toward Li Yunxiao, eyes narrowed. They couldn't believe a mere 2-star fighter forced them to use a combined strike. Even now, the shock was visible. Hui Kwang snatched Long Hao's blade without a word. The audacity of the move left the entire street in stunned silence. That's my Azure Moonblade, Long Hao stammered. Hai Kwang mounted his horse, coolly stating, We caught your prisoner, Captain. We're done. Long Hao stood frozen, jaw dropping in disbelief. Hui Min just waved a dismissive hand. Don't bother seeing us out, Captain. Long Hao felt sick. He had spent a fortune on that sword, using every family connection just to get Master Liang to forge it. "My legendary blade!" he groaned, his voice breaking. Then, the sorrow vanished, replaced by a cold, murderous fury. "Get up, you useless pigs!" he screamed at his men. "Bring him in! He cost me my sword! I will make him regret being born!" Mangwu kept running, her heart hammering against her ribs. "I have to find someone. I have to save him." She finally reached the gates of the Li Manor, gasping for air. Relief flooded her chest like a cold drink on a hot day. "He is the eldest son of the Li family. If they cannot save him, nobody can. He is going to be okay," she whispered. Inside, the steward Li Yi was admiring a spirit blade. "Remarkable," he murmured. "The power in this thing is terrifying, even sealed." A servant came rushing in, shattering the silence. "Sir, there is trouble." Li Yi looked up, his expression instantly souring. "A girl is at the gate," the servant panted. "She says the guards took Master Li Yunxiao. She is begging for help." Li Yi scoffed, a sneer curling his lip. "That useless brat? You mean the family embarrassment finally got himself arrested?" The servant looked down, unsure what to say. Li Yi waved a dismissive hand, not even looking up from his sword. "Tell her the old master is handling it and she can go. We are not wasting another second on that piece of trash." The servant delivered the lie with a straight face. Mangwu looked up, desperate. "When will they go get him?" "That is above my pay grade," the servant replied coldly. "The old master said do not worry, so do not. Now, beat it." Mangwu walked away, trying to feel relieved. Li Yunxiao's grandfather was Li Chunyang, a legendary titan of the military. He was a protector of the state, second only to the king. His name carried more weight than gold in this city. With the higher-ups ignoring the court, the entire kingdom was split between Li Chunyang and his rival, Lam Huang. If a man like that said do not worry, she should have been fine. So why did her gut feel so wrong? Li Yunxiao's eyes snapped open. The world was a blur of shadows and the sharp, metallic tang of blood. His body was a map of pain. His energy pathways were shredded, his limbs useless, and heavy iron shackles bit into his skin. He was in a hole, a dungeon filled with broken souls. An old man watched him from the corner. "So, you are finally awake." Where am I?" Li Yunxiao rasped. The old man gave a dry, hollow laugh. "The Long family's private hell, kid. The guards said you took the young master's hands," the old man wheezed. "I did not think you would survive the night." Li Yunxiao's brow furrowed. "This is not the city prison?" The old man spat on the cold stone floor. "The city prison is for criminals. This place is for people the Longs just want to disappear. They own this hole." Li Yunxiao's eyes flared with a cold, quiet rage. "A private dungeon? They have some nerve. I will make them regret this." "Regret? Kid, you are never leaving," the old man hacked. "I have been in this cell since I was your age." He pointed a trembling finger. "I spat in the street in front of their house. That was 40 years ago." He gestured to another silent figure. He was 8 when he looked at their maid. They took him and his father both. He is 48 now. He has never seen the sun as an adult. Li Yunxiao's chest tightened. This was not just a prison. That maid is probably long dead by now. "Do not lose hope," Li Yunxiao whispered. "I am getting us all out of here." The old man just turned away. "Dream on, kid. Just be grateful if the bread is not too moldy today." Li Yunxiao did not answer. He forced himself upright, his bones grinding as he began the ancient breathing pattern. The other prisoners watched, their eyes dull and hollow. "Another dreamer," one muttered. "He will break soon enough." But Li Yunxiao felt it, a tiny spark of heat in his gut, slowly crawling through his shattered energy channels. The tyrant body technique was the ultimate path to physical rebirth. It was his only way out of this darkness. Over at the Alchemist Guild, Gu Rong was trembling with fury. "This is not a game. You are telling me he is just gone?" Yun Cheng's voice was barely a whisper. "I have checked everywhere. It is like he vanished off the face of the earth." With no one else in sight, Vin felt his blood run cold. He began to tremble violently as the gravity of the situation hit him. Van Thuong broke the silence, suggesting they replace the assistant immediately to ensure the acupuncture was performed correctly. "We cannot afford any more delays. The princess's life is hanging by a thread." Hua Han chimed in, his voice tight with growing desperation. "We have already tripled her daily dosage, yet her condition remains spiraling out of control. If we hesitate any longer, I fear the worst is inevitable." Princess Than Pham nodded grimly, agreeing that there was no room for error. She didn't care about the assistant's status, she only cared about a cure. "I will step in as your assistant myself." How could some spoiled, wealthy playboy possibly grasp the intricacies of such a delicate procedure? "If you want to play mentor, do it on your own time. We are out of minutes." Guvin's face turned a ghostly shade of white as he realized his deception was failing. He collapsed to his knees, sobbing hysterically as he prepared to confess the terrifying truth. He recounted every detail of his scheme through his tears. Upon hearing the confession, Hua Han and Than Pham exploded in a fit of rage. "You have some nerve, Vin, gambling with royalty's life like this," Hua Han sneered, unable to believe Vin's stupidity. "You actually let a useless trust fund brat play you? You believed a teenager could actually master the art of vital pressure points? You are an absolute fool," Than Pham barked in order to have the master dragged to the dungeon. He ordered Vin to be executed the moment the crisis passed. Vin crawled forward, clutching at their robes while begging them to trust the young master. He insisted the boy was their only hope. Than Pham delivered a brutal kick to Vin's face, sending him tumbling backward as he roared in fury. "Do you have any idea how grave your crimes are? If you hadn't lied about knowing those specialized acupuncture techniques, I would have appealed to the High Alchemist Guild for help long ago. Now, the medicine is failing to stabilize her wounds entirely. It is far too late to seek outside help now. You deserve 1,000 deaths for this." "How am I supposed to answer to the king?" Van Thuong raised a hand to intervene. "Wait, Master Than Pham." The man turned on her, his eyes blazing with pure resentment. "What now? This disaster is on your hands too. Li Yunxiao is your student, isn't he? You will answer for his failures as well." Van Thuong stood her ground. "Sir, my recent promotion to Master Alchemist only happened because of Yunxiao's brilliant indirect guidance." Than Pham scoffed, dismissing it as a fluke. "Don't tell me you actually believe a child understands the complexities of the human nervous system?" Van Thuong replied that while she couldn't vouch for his medical expertise, his performance in the recent school duel was nothing short of miraculous. He defeated Master Tai Tuong's top grandson, Lam Huyen, with a single, effortless strike. Than Pham's expression shifted from anger to shock. "So what?" Hua Han interjected, clearly skeptical. "That is impossible. Isn't that boy a total write-off with ruined meridians who can't cultivate? Wasn't Lam Huyen considered the most gifted student in the entire Jia Lam Academy?" Van Thuong confirmed that the rumors were wrong. Not only are his energy channels wide open, but he also mastered a legendary martial art known as the Seal of Floating Life. Than Pham gasped in disbelief. "The Seal of Floating Life? Unless he is a direct disciple of the great Yang Di. I cannot confirm his lineage," Van Thuong admitted. Than Pham began to pace, realizing that if he was Yang Di's protege, he might actually save them. Hua Han recalled that Luan Van Vu had described Yunxiao's body as a complete wreck with no hope for a future in martial arts. Yet now he is crushing elite students with forbidden techniques. This changes everything. Than Pham's eyes sharpened with a new sense of urgency. "Mobilize every resource we have," he commanded. "I don't care if you have to dig 6 feet under, find Li Yunxiao this instant." Meanwhile, at a local tavern near the academy, Lam Doa and Du Hua Qin were passing the time with a few drinks. "Seriously, Lam Doa, the entire school is buzzing about that legendary fight. It is a real shame you weren't there to witness it yourself. I doubt even the top-ranked fighters could stand against him now." Lam Doa slammed her glass onto the table, her patience finally snapping. "Check, please. Look, senior, I have told you 1,000 times that I have zero interest in your gossip or your stories. And stop following me around. I am currently stuck at a cultivation bottleneck and need to begin my seclusion immediately. Goodbye." She turned and walked away without looking back. Hoa Chin's face twisted with a bitter rage as he slammed his fist into the wood. Who does that brat think she is? She has been played by every guy in school, yet she acts like she is too good for me. I have been chasing her for months and she won't even let me touch her hand. Pathetic. A waitress named Mong Vu approached him with a smile. "Good evening, sir. Would you like to try our special purple romance cocktail? It might be just the thing to improve your mood." Hoa Chin squinted at her through a drunken haze. "Wait, I recognize you. You are one of the freshmen, aren't you? I never forget a pretty face from the lower classes. You're Mong Vu. I'm Du Hua Qin, and I'm about to become a full warrior." He reached out and grabbed her hand firmly. "What's a girl like you doing slinging cheap booze? It's a total waste of your talent." Mong Vu remained professional and asked if he wanted a glass. "The purple romance is only $6 a pour, senior." He laughed mockingly. $6 for a taste of love? What a joke. He reached up to stroke her face with a predatory grin. "You're way too beautiful for this dump, Mong Vu. Be my girl. I'll give you a fixed allowance of $100 every month." Mong Vu shoved his hand away, her eyes turning cold. "Have some self-respect, senior." Hoa Chin gaped at her in stunned silence. Hoa Chin lunges, clutching the girl's face while snarling that a lowly barmaid shouldn't dare refuse his advances tonight. He demands her submission as Han Bak and Tran Chao enter, discussing their failed search over a few stiff drinks. They spent the entire day hunting for Master Van without finding a single clue regarding his current status. Surveying the unnatural silence, Han Bak wonders if they wandered into the wrong tavern by mistake this evening. Tran Chao spots the girl who framed their friend, while Han Bak labels her a clingy shadow to La Lam. Sensing they are weaker, Hoa Chin barks a command for them to vanish within 3 short breaths. Hanbok mocks his arrogance, asking if he truly doesn't recognize them while demanding news on Master Van's location. He warns the bully that bothering Master Van's girl is a fast track to a very early, painful grave. Realizing they are Li Van Xiao's associates, Hoa Chin freezes as Tran Xiao traps him with a heavy, threatening arm. He warns the coward that being off campus means they can summon a mob to erase him from existence instantly. Hoa Chin trembles, remembering these men are heirs to the kingdom's most powerful and ruthless military commanders. In the capital, these wealthy brats are untouchable and capable of committing any atrocity without facing legal consequences. He feigns interest in his training, claiming he has no time for drama before trying to leave. Denying any connection to the girl, he insists they can't blame him and rushes out to find safety. Hanbok scoffs, noting the coward only escaped because their primary enforcers were still out searching for Van. Tran Xiao tells him to ignore the trash and asks if he fears something fatal happened to Van. With the Alchemist Guild and Royal Guards searching everywhere, even an ant should have been found by now. Tran Xiao admits the boy has changed so much lately that he barely recognizes his old friend anymore. Meng Vu timidly interrupts, asking if the missing person they are searching for is actually named Li Van Xiao. Tran Xiao slams the table, screaming that she is the one who framed the young master with her lies. Stuttering in fear, she wonders why the family hasn't rescued him since 3 days have passed since his arrest. Hanbok bellows for her to talk, and the terrified girl recounts the entire nightmare to the shocked men. Enraged, Tran Xiao strikes the table, demanding to know why she kept this vital secret for so long. She claims she informed the Li Manor, where a high-ranking servant told her to just mind her own business. Realizing she never saw the Duke, Tran Xiao bolts for the door, sensing they are out of time. Hanbok stops him, insisting they recruit Master Trong and Teacher Lack to force the royal guards to cooperate. Their combined influence could make the elite palace soldiers stand down and surrender the prisoner without a fight. Tran Xiao agrees as Hanbok orders the girl to come along, since her involvement is far from over. At the Long Manor, the younger son, Long Thien, focuses on his martial arts under his father's watchful eyes. The general praises his progress, noting he is far more disciplined than his useless, lazy older brother. Long Thien humbly points out that his brother is already a 3-star warrior, leaving a massive gap to close. Noticing his father's grim expression, the boy asks what heavy burden is weighing on the Royal Guard commander. The general sighs, explaining they have been searching fruitlessly for a high-profile youth for 3 full days. The pressure of the failed manhunt is suffocating him, even though he barely understands why the boy matters. He mentions the target is the Duke's grandson, then asks where the elder brother has run off to. Long Thien reveals his brother is in the dungeon, torturing a kid who supposedly broke his hands recently. Hao went down there to make the prisoner suffer until he regretted the very moment he was born. The general groans, calling his eldest son a pathetic waste for being crippled by a nobody in public. Long Thien suddenly remembers his brother brought in a young man 3 days ago, matching the description perfectly. He mentions the prisoner's name was Van, and the general's heart stops as cold dread washes over him. The general tries to dismiss the coincidence until his son clarifies the full name of the boy downstairs. Long Thien confirms the name is Li Van Xiao, and the general feels his world collapse into ash. He mobilized every soldier to search while the boy was rotting in his own basement for 72 hours. He realizes his son kidnapped the Duke's grandson and a legendary general's son, sparking a political apocalypse. The boy's words hit like thunder as the general realizes his son likely already killed the vital prisoner. A sudden commotion rattled the estate. Guards scrambled, shouting that intruders had breached the perimeter. "Who dares trespass?" I roared, my voice echoing through the courtyard like thunder. My students looked on with awe. My mere shout sent ripples of fear through the air. Their pride shattered when a soldier's cry cut through the tension. Commander Lack had arrived. "By order of Master Than Pham, we're seizing this estate. Resist, and you'll be branded a traitor." It happened too fast. Armed men swarmed the grounds, pinning us down before we could react. These weren't ordinary guards. They were elite warriors. My heart sank as I saw the commander. I masked my panic with a pathetic bow. "Masters, what is the meaning of this intrusion?" Than Pham gave me a cold look. "The boy you kidnapped is hidden somewhere inside these walls. For 3 days, the capital was in an uproar. Who would have thought he was right here?" Fear gripped me. My son had done something reckless, something that would ruin us both. I wanted to throttle the boy myself. Then, they brought forward the witness to testify. She recounted every detail, the harassment, the struggle, and the moment my son took him. She left nothing out. Every bruise, every scream, every act of cowardice was laid bare. "You heard the girl," Than Pham said. "We're taking over. If I'm wrong, I'll pay the price." "But we're not wrong," the general added. "We have the proof. Don't make this harder." I was cornered. There was no way out but to play along and hope for mercy. Master Vin watched in silence, regret washing over him like a cold tide. He had taken in a student on a whim, never imagining the chaos the boy would cause. It was a lapse in judgment that now threatened to burn everything he'd built. "Tell me one thing," the commander barked. "Is the prisoner still drawing breath?" "I have no idea," I stammered. "My son acted alone. Let me lead you to him." Deep in the dungeon, I felt my shattered meridians pulsing. I was close to a breakthrough, but time was a luxury I didn't have. Footsteps echoed down the hall too soon. The door creaked open. My tormentors walked in, their faces twisted with petty malice. "I'm going to make you wish you'd never been born," one of them sneered, sitting comfortably. They dragged me to the pillar. I counted 5 men, 2 warriors and 1 high-level master. My energy was still depleted. Fighting my way out was a suicide mission. I had to wait. "Wake him up," the leader ordered. "I want him to feel every drop of this venom." They prepared a cocktail of salt and toxins designed to turn every scratch into a nightmare. "Don't die on me yet," he hissed. Then he stopped, his eyes widening in confusion. My skin was unblemished. I looked up and smirked. "Who are you again? Some nobody?" Infuriated, he drove his fist into my gut. "Let's see if that mouth still works after this." Blood sprayed across his face. I just laughed, the metallic tang filling my senses. "I remember now," I wheezed. "You're the stray dog who lost his favorite toy." "Kill him!" he screamed. "I want him dead, now!" His friend held him back. "Not yet. Death is too easy for a cockroach like this." He regained his composure, a sick grin returning. "You're right. Let's give him the family special. 100 lashes," he decreed. "Make sure he feels every single one before he goes." I braced myself. The punch had hurt, but something strange was happening inside me. The impact hadn't just broken bone, it had sparked a fire in my core, feeding my power. It was the tyrant's art. Every blow I took was being converted into pure, raw energy. I remembered my duel with the Emperor. We fought for days, leveling entire cities in our wake. I lost that fight because his body was a fortress that thrived on conflict. Now, the irony hit me. Their torture wasn't killing me, it was making me a god. I finally realized that his physical frame could tank my internal energy with such ease while simultaneously feeding off the force of my blows. He was recycling my own momentum to bolster himself. How could such a twisted technique even exist? This dominant physique body tempering. Scripture is easily on par with the great Genesis art. However, despite its ability to soak up an opponent's kinetic force, the user must endure a direct hit to internalize and process that energy. Once you reach the 9 Heavens Emperor realm, who would be insane enough to stand still and take a punch from a martial sovereign? Not even a god would risk having their body detonated. It seemed invincible at first, but now the glaring weakness of this style is terrifyingly clear. While I was lost in thought, a guard's whip cracked across my chest, tearing through my skin with focused, sadistic malice. My body was a roadmap of agony, yet I smiled. To me, this low-level torture was just high-quality nutrition for my core. The goon barked, "Weren't you supposed to be tough? Let's see how much more of this you can swallow," before lashing out again. I gritted my teeth, shouting for the cowards to hit harder to jumpstart my energy. The masked man whispered, "This kid, his resolve is frightening. He hasn't made a single sound despite the blood." Tuan Lung laughed, "A tough nut to crack. Makes the game more fun. If he begged or died too soon, all my preparation would have been a total waste of time." I calculated every strike. Just 20 or 30 more lashes and I would finally force my way into the 3-star rank. Suddenly, Long Hao signaled a halt. "I underestimated you, but don't worry, the real entertainment is just beginning." He leaned in with a sick grin. "I've got a little something to make you feel very friendly." I laughed internally. I was already at the peak of 2-star. I could break these chains whenever I wanted, but my shell was still battered. Plus, a 2nd-rank master was lurking nearby. I decided to wait and see what twisted trick they had up their sleeves. Tuan Luang produced a vial. My personal masterpiece. Even a eunuch would turn into a wild beast after one whiff of this. He tossed the powder at 2 guards. Their eyes glazed over instantly as they began clawing at each other in a primal trance. They locked together in a grotesque embrace. Tuan Lung chuckled. "It brings the dead back to life." I felt a chill. This was psychological warfare. Long Hao looked disgusted and waved his hand. "Enough testing. Force the rest on him." Tuan Lung approached me, shaking the vial. "They only got a dusting. This entire batch is reserved just for you." This was spiraling out of control. Just as nausea hit me, my internal energy surged and snapped. I finally hit 3-star. Damn, what a way to level up. I didn't care about the method. I just focused on the explosive power in my veins. I shattered the iron bindings and lunged at Tuan Lung. "Rot in hell, you freak!" The powder exploded over the entire group. Long Hao scrambled back, screaming for an antidote. Tuan Lung just stared blankly, foaming at the mouth in a daze. "No cure, brother. Just lean into the madness," he whimpered. Long Hao kicked him squarely in the teeth. "To hell with your madness! He turned to the shadowed figure. "Ma kill this brat right now!" The old man shed his cloak, his eyes burning with intent, but I was already mid-air, closing the gap in a heartbeat. He ripped his shirt off, revealing a physique of pure muscle. A mere boy thinks he can challenge a lion like me? I activated the lunar soul gaze. Our eyes locked, and for a split second, the old master froze like a statue. I channeled every ounce of energy into a single fist. The impact sent him crashing through the stone floor like a meteor. He coughed up blood, stunned. Soul arts? He didn't finish before the drugged guards began swarming over him like hungry wolves. Long Hao, lost to the drug's heat, joined the fray. I covered my nose and bolted for the exit as the moans began. I triggered my storage ring, pulling out fresh robes to regain some dignity. I had to get back to the Alchemist Guild. Tun Nutuit's condition wouldn't wait. I kicked the heavy cellar door open and stepped into the blinding afternoon sun. I blinked as a crowd of familiar faces stared back at me. "Master Trun, Turhan, what are you all doing here?" Trenshan rushed forward. "Are you hurt?" I shook my head casually. "I'm fine. Why wouldn't I be?" A chorus of rhythmic, disturbing grunts echoed from the dungeon behind me. Trun Shan's face twisted in sheer horror. "How can you say you're fine with that noise?" He tried to push past me. I put a hand on his chest to stop him. Long Hao's father looked relieved. I was alive but confused. Than Pham sensed a shift in my aura, something powerful. "So you're the famous Li Van Tieo," she whispered, looking toward the cellar. "What exactly is happening down there?" Trenshan peeked inside and immediately doubled over, dry heaving. He sprinted away before losing his lunch on the grass. Hanbach frowned. "What's the big deal?" I shrugged. "Long Hao is just bonding with his men. Best not to interrupt." Against my warning, Hanbach and the other elders moved closer, curiosity leading them straight toward the nightmare. Curiosity got the better of them, but one look inside had everyone sprinting for the yard, doubling over and losing their lunch. "Told you so. I warned you that Long Howding has some seriously twisted hobbies that regular people just can't stomach. Look on the bright side, a good heave is probably great for your digestion." General Long turned to me, demanding an explanation. "Your son dragged me here without saying a single word. Honestly, I should be the one asking what the hell is going on." The general looked me over, puzzled. On paper, I was just a 3-star warrior, yet he couldn't shake a sense of impending danger. He felt like he was facing an unpredictable monster, unsure if he could even survive a real fight against me. He tried to convince himself it was just the nausea messing with his head. He trembled as he spoke, trying to find his voice. "The situation with my son is still a mess, yet here you are, standing perfectly fine while he is." Well, like that. Gurong couldn't help but chime in, muttering something about the apple not falling far from the tree. "Watch your mouth. I am the commander of the Imperial Guard and a 3-star Great Martial Master. I would never stoop so low." Zhang Qingfan cut him off, noting that everyone in the room was a respected warrior. Then he turned his focus toward me. "So, you're the famous Li Yunxiao?" I shot back, asking if he was the one and only Zhang Qingfan. "We have the president of the Alchemist Guild and the commander of the guards here. Between them, it's either the king or Zhang Qingfan, or maybe Xiao Qingwang." It wasn't exactly a hard riddle to solve. Zhang admitted that I was far sharper than the rumors suggested. He asked if I really knew the art of pressure point needlework. I told him there was only one way to find out. The princess is royalty. Her life is priceless. We can't just let some kid go poking around with needles on a whim. "Fine, don't let me try. But tell me, do any of you actually have a better plan?" The room went dead silent. Zhang finally gave in. "If you save her, you'll have a permanent get-out-of-jail-free card in this kingdom, no matter what you do. But if she dies, not even your grandfather, Li Chunyang, will be able to shield you from the consequences. You're dead. My life has always been in my own hands, and that's exactly where it's staying." Zhang's expression soured at my confidence. Gurong jumped in to break the tension, ushering everyone toward the princess's chambers since time was running out. I caught Meng Wu's eye and told her that since she'd gotten me into this mess, she was going to help me get out. I needed a solid assistant for this procedure. She tried to back out, claiming she didn't know the first thing about medicine. "You're doing it whether you like it or not." I told Zhang I'd need her and Lady Yun Chang, and he'd be footing the bill. Zhang agreed instantly, stating that everyone would follow my lead and do exactly as I commanded during the procedure. Yun Chang smiled to herself. This legendary needle technique was something only high-tier alchemists could dream of mastering. No alchemist would miss a chance to see this. Gurong tried to buddy up to me, asking if he could be my assistant instead. I shut him down immediately, reminding him that the idiot Liang Jun was his disciple. Gurong turned pale, realizing he'd messed up. He stood there like a ghost as we walked away, desperately trying to distance himself from his own student. "I kicked that kid out of my sect ages ago." Mentally, anyway. I stopped caring about what he did a long time ago. "I'm serious, I don't even know the guy, don't leave me here." But I didn't look back as we headed for the basement. We reached the 4th floor of the guild, entering a specialized ice chamber where the air was bone-chillingly cold. Princess Ru Shui lay unconscious on a bed of ice. Zhang explained that this purple jade bed was the only thing keeping her alive, but even the bed's power was reaching its limit. I sighed, knowing my current soul power was frustratingly low. If I had realized sooner that she suffered from the 5-yin absolute pulse, we wouldn't have had to wait this long. Yun Chang was skeptical. All I asked for was some cloth and 30 gold needles. She wondered if I was actually serious. Zhang pressed me for a real answer. What are the odds? 2%? 3? If it's that low, I have to tell the king. Everyone looked at me with worry, knowing that if I failed, I'd be saying a permanent goodbye to the princess in my life. Look, if she were a man, I'd be 100% certain. But since she's a girl, things get a bit more complicated. I have to work behind a curtain from 15 meters away to maintain her modesty. That adds a layer of difficulty. Plus, I'm still a bit nauseous from Long's little display earlier. So, let's say I'm about 90% sure of success. Zhang's jaw dropped. You're going to perform precision needlework from 15 meters away just to avoid looking at her? He couldn't believe it. 90% from that distance? Even my master said this technique requires tier 5 soul power. Without that level of mastery, it's impossible to pull off. Yun Chang smacked me upside the head, losing her temper. Who do you think you are? The legendary Yang Di? You've got some nerve claiming you can pull off a miracle like that. I am 100% certain about the remote technique, but the princess is critical. Could you just take me seriously for once? I sighed. I am being serious. If the girl is in that much danger, stop playing the clown. He clapped his hands and gave the signal. Let's start. Teacher, draw the screen. Moo, you just support her. Fan rushed over and ripped the fabric away. Shoving it back, he barked, "Screw the screen! Face her! A royal life is worth a fortune. This isn't some game for you." I snatched it back, snapping. Because she is priceless, the screen stays. To save her, she has to be completely undressed. If I see her like that, and the king orders me to marry her just to save face, I am the one who is screwed. You are trying to trap me, aren't you? I am not falling for it. I turned away. Fan's head spun. To him, I was treating a national emergency like a playground joke. He wondered if I was just mocking him. Is he really just pulling my leg? I pushed the spectators away. The energy is peaking. Keep stalling. And she is a corpse. Once it settles, her life force vanishes. Even a level 9 grandmaster could not save her then. Moo, teacher stay. Everyone else, out. Everything is ready, I said. Moo, get her undressed. Teacher, get that screen up right now. Enough jokes, kid, she snapped. The fallout of this failure is more than you can handle. Just be serious for once. I snapped my fingers, sending needles into the air. With a flick, I warned, Teacher, I am aiming for your gate point. Ready? The needle hit home perfectly. She froze, stunned. Not a single millimeter off? My silk is gold-threaded. That is impossible to control. How did he even know I had gold lining? I had spotted the glint on her neck earlier. It is the trend, right? Plus 3 layers of clothes. We are 6 meters apart, so I used 30% power. Any questions? Blushing, she yelled. Shut it and get to work! My needles were already circling me like a swarm. Let's go. Honestly, I have to do this blind. If I see that girl naked, I will never be able to focus. She might be young, but she is already, well, developed. Inside, the teacher sighed. Just ignore him. Let's begin. Ready? I asked. 5 needles hissed through the air, finding their mark instantly. The precision was terrifying. Outside, the tension was thick. Is he just a loose cannon? Han asked nervously. Fan sighed. At this point, we are already committed to the mess. We just have to follow through. Vin was pale as a ghost, thinking his life was over. Suddenly, the door creaked open. I stepped out, stretching my neck. Fan exploded. What happened? Why haven't you started? She is running out of time. It is done, I said flatly. Han gasped. Done? Already? You are kidding me. Yeah, finished. The room went silent. A few minutes? It felt like a sick joke to everyone. Vin thought, that is it. I am dead. We are all dead. Fan raised a fist, ready to strike. You have some nerve. Gambling with her life? I do not care who your grandfather is. You are dead today. Suddenly, the teacher ran out. Master Fan, she is cured. The princess is actually fine now. Everyone froze. Cured? Are you messing with us too? Han rushed inside the room. It was true. A decade-long curse, broken in minutes by a teenager. They were speechless. Vin wept with relief. His neck was safe. Fan could only give a hollow laugh. That fast? You are kidding. I snapped. You have got to be kidding me. It was 18 needles. I could have stabbed you 18 times in that time. I pointed right at his face. How long did you want it to take? You have been a court doctor so long your brain is mush. The silence was deafening. Did he just call the head physician an idiot? The kid was suicidal. Vin's face went white again. Please, Do not drag me into your grave with that mouth. Fan stood there, stunned. Nobody had talked to him like that in years. He was not even angry, just shaken. You are calling me an idiot? He whispered softly. Isn't it obvious? I replied without blinking. He just nodded. I guess it is. Everyone looked at him in disbelief. Did he seriously just take that insult from a brat? The kid was out of his mind. Vin's face stayed pale. Don't involve me in this mess, I beg you. Fan was frozen for seconds. He hadn't been called stupid in decades. It felt strange. Instead of burning with rage, he felt a weird sense of vulnerability. It actually hurt his pride. He asked quietly, You really think I'm an idiot? I just looked at him. Isn't it obvious? He simply nodded. Yeah. Van Thuong demanded apologies. I ignored the fraud. She apologized for me. The master admitted truth. He stayed for observation. She signaled 2 guards. Why the sudden transformation? Mastery shouldn't be overnight. She suspected my act. The guards were clueless. I became a stranger. Is family tragedy driving? Was I masking strength? Danger lurks in shadows. Civil war is imminent. Leadat stole power. Father is stuck abroad. He seized total control. Grandfather was illegally caged. Elders remain suspicious now. I found secret leverage. My needles prove everything. The kingdom will shatter. We stand with him. Soldiers hate the traitor. They await my command. Her loyalty was torn. Queen's guard or teacher? Someone's talking about me. Save my dying brother. My luck with women. Take 1,000 gold. She refused the money. Pay for nursing assistance. Your presence kept focus, professional. She accepted the truth. We reached the slums. Brutal 4-hour walk. Poverty forced them out. Hero father died fighting. 3 years since death. Living on meager scraps. Meet my brother, Mong. He's turned toxic green. Sick for 5 months. I was doing anything for a buck back then, which is why I helped Lam Fai betray Li Yuntiao. The past is dead. Let's focus on him. The magic I tried to use on the kid. It just evaporated. Li Yuntiao was stunned. Meng Wu was shaking, sobbing about all the failed healers. They were all frauds. We've been using resurrection water to keep him breathing, but it's not enough. The medicine is failing. I'm terrified, she cried, collapsing into Li Yuntiao's arms in a heap. Every day is a haunting. He brushed her hair back. Relax. I'm here. He's not dying today. Is that the truth? What's actually killing him? He sighed. It's the sovereign toxin physique. That sounds like a curse. Can you fix it? He looked away. You don't fix a man's soul. You said he wouldn't die. Please, I'm begging you. You have to save my little brother. I'll do anything you ask. Anything. Just bring him back to me. He gently pushed her off. Stop right there. Don't go tempting me to do something I'll regret. She just kept pleading. Stop the crying. This isn't a bug in the system. You can't cure who someone is at their core. It's like asking me to change his gender. She looked lost. If it's not a sickness, then why? Look, some people are just born different. The world is full of outliers who defy the rules. People with these special constitutions manifest things that would terrify a normal person. This poison body is exactly that, she asked. So how do we fix it? There has to be a way. It's a waste of breath. I told you it's not a disease. He is the poison. The issue is his strength. He's too weak to act as a vessel for that much raw power. He can't hold it back, so it's melting him. He started driving needles into the boy's skin. I've seen this in the old texts. The first step is just stopping the internal leak. If he just grinds and levels up his core, all these problems vanish. But damn, this toxin is heavy. Inky sludge climbs the silver needles. I press my palm to his brow, and the steel tips launch like bullets. The blood and soul venoms are fusing. His sister panics as the traditional pressure points fail to respond. I shove him upright. I'm drawing the rod into myself. I growl. I'll survive it. He won't. I trigger the primordial breath. The swirling darkness leaps from the needles directly into my own veins. The girl's eyes widen in horror. You'll die, she screams. I just scoff. He's barely unlocked 5 gates. A fledgling. This isn't a death sentence for me. It is a 5-course meal for my cultivation. She watches, frozen, as the ink-black veins crawl up my arm and paint my face in shadow. The boy's deathly pallor finally lifts. The darkness is choosing a new, much stronger host, me. Tears hit the floor. I grin through the burning. Corrode me? I am the architect of my own soul. She looks at me like I'm a saint. Since her father died, every helper just wanted her beauty. But here I am, risking it all for nothing. To her, I'm a warm light in a cold world. The boy is clean. I pull the venom deep into my gut, locking it down with sheer will. She's sobbing with relief now. I can feel the ancient energy buzzing under my skin. Jackpot. Pure primordial power. Delicious. The kid groans, his eyes fluttering open to a world he almost left. She lunges for him, a mess of tears. You're back. You're finally back. He looks at me, dazed. That's Master Li. she says. He's the reason you're still breathing. Bow. He rolls out of bed, trembling, and hits the floor. Thank you, master, for my life. I stare him down. Too weak, I mutter. There wasn't even enough poison for a decent appetizer. You're a natural-born toxin hive. We need to brew more, make it richer. He looks terrified. He laughs nervously, looking for a joke. But my face stays stone cold and serious. I don't do comedy, kid. You're the luckiest brat alive. Now, 3 bows. Don't stop. Wait, you're taking me as an apprentice? Xiao asked, stunned. Me? Your master? Ha! You actually want me as a mentor, Yun? Look at your age. You're barely older than my sister, maybe a year ahead of me, and you want to mentor me? Please, if I bow to anyone, it'll be the Divine Guard's Grandmaster. Yun Xiao seethed, thinking, in my past life, one flick of my wrist and this power could obliterate an army, Bai muttered. I'm grateful for the cure, but Wu cut him off, slamming his head down. Shut up and bow to your master. Master Yun is a once-in-a-century genius. Being his disciple is a massive blessing for us. Sister, you're my own blood, Bai cried. Don't ruin me, Wu snapped back immediately. Ruin you? I'm doing this for your future. Her eyes welled up with frustrated tears. Fine, don't cry. I'll do it, Bai sighed. Master, please accept my formal salute. You're skeptical now, but I'm handing you a supreme physical technique. The Overlord Mantra. It's perfect for your constitution. Master this, and your potential will become truly limitless. Bai's response was a total buzzkill. Thanks, but can't you just teach me Tiger Strike? I fumed. He wanted a basic playground move over the world's greatest physical art? Wu smacked him. Listen to your teacher. You don't get to choose, you brat. You have to start with the basics. Master the Overlord Mantra before asking for more. If you make Master Yun happy, maybe he'll show you the real secrets later. I sighed at their shared ignorance. I don't even know that trashy Tiger Strike. You're learning the Overlord Mantra because it's the only way to suppress your internal toxins. It stops the poison? Bai asked, intrigued. There are 18 distinct forms in this art. I'll teach you the first 3. By dusk, his agonizing screams echoed through the mountains. Remember these 3. Practice them day and night. Hard work is your only path now. Once you reach the first-tier warrior rank, I'll find a technique for your talent. Bai perked up. Really? What else do you know? It better beat Tiger Strike. I snapped a branch in rage. Never mention that amateur bottom-tier trash to me again. That's beginner garbage. Trust my plan. For now, you must fortify your physical core. That's how you'll evolve the poison. By the way, where'd this rock pile come from? Uncle Shi and I found them. When the poison flared up, I just dropped them. They looked worthless, so we left them. I sifted through, sensing a strange, bottled energy. This wasn't ordinary ore. I cracked the shell, revealing a gem that shimmered with power. Where exactly did you find these? I demanded. Is there a mine nearby? An old mountain mine outside town. It's restricted, but we scavenged these from the perimeter. These are purple sunstones. 5 rank materials, perfect for crafting high-level energy arrays. If I'm right, the elite Jolin Academy is built entirely from this very material. For gravity arrays? Bai's eyes widened. Does that mean they're actually worth a fortune? Exactly. Kingdom-level training rooms are rare because these stones are almost impossible to buy. Only world-class masters can build gravity chambers. This piece is crude, but it's huge. I could create a 3-meter gravity field with this. Bai looked at it with pure greed. Jackpot. Wait, master, you wouldn't steal from your own student, would you? It vanished. This is useless to you now, I said. I'm just keeping it safe for your future. It's like your savings account. Now get back to training those 3 forms immediately. Once the toxins peak, I'll extract them. To me, Bai was a walking health tonic. I headed home humming. What a haul, a legendary poison-bodied disciple and rare ore. With his raw talent, he rivals my best previous students. Now, I need better gear. Finding that stone was pure luck. It's time to visit the Alchemist Guild for refinement. At the guild, Fan stood before Han with a drawn blade. Find Yun Xiao, now. Meanwhile, I strolled inside and found Jiao. I need to borrow an amplification array. She looked terrified. Master Truong and President Hua have been scouring the city for you. I'm just here to use the guild's enhancement array. Master Zhang and the president both promised they would help me find. What's the emergency? Did the princess crash? No, that's impossible. Lu Jiao urged me to just face the music. This way, sir. I sighed. I needed their help, so I played along with this little charade for now. Right here. She looked at me weirdly. Most people would be trembling with joy to meet these 2 legends. Grandmaster Zhang, President Hua, he's here. She bowed and vanished. I didn't wait for an invite to enter. I marched up and claimed the head seat. What do you want? They stared, their jaws hitting the floor. They handed over a royal invite, a party for the new master and the princess's recovery. 5 guests allowed. Is that it? I asked. They laughed. We want to know. Are you Yangdi's secret protege or not? No, I snapped. They blinked. Then how do you know the rebirth seal, the golden needle technique? I stood up to leave. They were fuming. Nobody treats them like this. But Hua Han stopped my exit. Hold on, Yun. We have gifts. A token of gratitude for saving the girl's life. Take a look. I popped the lid. A rank 2 badge? Hua Han nodded. Your skill is legendary, but my authority is limited. Go to the capital for rank 3. It's a start. I nodded. The monthly pay isn't half bad. Thanks. I tucked it away. There's more, he said, pointing. Don't bother, I replied. It's a sword. I can feel it. What do you think? They asked. I needed their secrets, so I sucked it up. It's all right, I guess. But it's a mess of mistakes. For a third-tier smith, you're trying, but it's fundamentally flawed and weak. They were insulted. A mess? This is a treasure. I sighed. You used 4th-tier metal for this blade. You think expensive equals better, but you can't handle that energy. You just hammered it into submission. It's brittle, unbalanced. A lower-tier metal worked properly would cut this in half. It's just fancy scrap. Their faces went pale. They'd never seen it that way. And your forge? I continued. Total amateur hour. You used beast flame on water iron. You literally burned the soul out of the material. It's dead weight. What did you expect? A miracle? Zhang stared at his masterpiece. Suddenly, it looked like a rusted nail. It was his pride and joy. Now, it was just a pile of garbage. He felt like a total failure. They looked at me differently now. In this backwater kingdom, no one had ever spoken such hard truth. A new world of craft opened before them. Master Yun, teach us. How do we make it perfect? I'm busy making my own gear. I'll use your lab. Pay attention. You might actually learn something today. They stood there, chanting my words like a prayer. Gu Rong was literally in tears of pure gratitude. I've called every student here to witness your brilliance, he sobbed. We were fools. Please, show us the truth. Stop. That weapon is a total failure. Even at rank 3, it's inferior to a basic blade forged from simple materials. High-grade steel is powerful, but it demands too much from the wielder and shatters easily. It's a liability, not an asset. Fan's jaw dropped. He'd never even considered that. He'd only ever focused on boosting the rank and quality of the steel. Yun Xiao continued, and your choice of true fire is wrong. Hotter isn't always better. Master Zhang, you're using beast fire, right? Specifically, fire elemental beast heat. That's gutting the weapon's innate water affinity. You're fighting the metal, not molding it. That makes the tempering process nearly impossible. You can't just force every step. With a build like this, what do you expect it to actually do, besides look like a high-rank blade? Fan stared at his sword, his pride and joy suddenly looking like a total disaster. It wasn't a masterwork anymore. It was just a pile of glorified scrap metal. Han and Fan looked at Yun Xiao, speechless. Han thought, in all my years in this kingdom, no one has ever schooled us like this. I've lived a lifetime, yet I feel like a novice standing before a new, brilliant path of alchemy, one far beyond our reach. I never imagined that at my age, I would witness a forging technique that makes our entire history look like child's play. A path to greatness has been laid out before us, hiding secrets of an even higher craft. Why are they calling us now? Fan finally asked, Master Yun Xiao, how do we actually forge something of true quality then? Yun Xiao just waved him off. I'm busy making my own gear right now. If you want to learn, watch closely while I work. Use my forge time to observe. How much you actually pick up today is entirely up to you. Those words echoed in their heads. How much you learn depends on you. They were stunned by the rare opportunity. Gu Vin wept, thanking the young master. I've learned my lesson from last time. I won't fail you again, master. I brought all my students here to watch. They've been punished and are in seclusion to focus entirely on their training. One mistake means permanent exile. I walked toward the glowing forge. This array is impressive. This craft won't be a walk in the park. Hua Han credited Yang Di's genius. I demanded my materials now. Gu Rong confirmed everything was ready, despite his obvious confusion. These weren't standard pill supplies. I told him I had a student to train, forging weapons and pills simultaneously. The array made it possible. They stood there frozen. I snapped at them to stop wasting time. Gu Rong offered to handle the pills so I could focus on the steel. I barked at him. Did he really want to miss a masterclass? He handed them over. Hua Han doubted anyone could multitask this way. Dual refining was unheard of. I told them to watch and learn. They weren't just hearing a legend, they were seeing one. Cheng Fan scoffed. He thought I was just some arrogant brat. He expected a massive failure to finally teach me some humility. I tested the furnace. It was go time. One punch popped the lid. I sent the materials flying into the heat with a flick. I dumped everything into one flame to save myself the headache. Gu Rong was horrified. Refining two things at once? Pure madness. Cheng Fan felt like an idiot for following a child's lead. He questioned his sanity. Was he too old to think straight anymore? Why was a 100-year-old man playing games with a teenager? Hua Han felt the walls closing in. His reputation was on the line. He'd been blinded by my medical skill. Now he felt like a fool. He'd given me a rank 2 badge. He felt like a total failure. Just a lucky rich kid playing at being a master. If word got out, they'd be the laughingstock of the kingdom. I moved like lightning, activating the ancient seals with every jump. The fire surged. The energy was palpable. Hua Han was speechless. The Forge Eye was live. He couldn't believe his eyes. Only a portion of the array was active. They thought I was weak. They assumed I was failing. They didn't understand true efficiency. This fire was stronger than anything they'd ever produced. Shut up and watch. This formation has 44 base layers. It's built for infinite variety and precise control. Activating everything at once is a waste of pure mental energy. Efficiency is key. I'm doing 12 things at once right now. 108 variations from 12 bases. That's real power. They were stunned. It was a masterclass in impossible alchemy. Cheng Fan shook with awe. He was seeing the future. A new path was opening before them, and I was the guide. Focus is everything. That's why the array is the soul of refinement. A true smith must first be a master of the mystic circles. Yang Di was a giant among men. Gu Rong was breathless. How could I talk while doing something so incredibly difficult? I told him I wasn't talking for my own benefit. Think you're too slow to keep up? Fine. Mouth shut, eyes open. Just watch and learn. Vin went silent. Pham and Han's stares were pure poison. Yun Xiao's focus remained razor sharp on the Pham 7. His rhythm was hypnotic. Every strike was a masterclass in violence and grace that left them breathless. Who knew forging could be high art? Keep the core flame steady, Yun Xiao muttered. That's the secret. We're in the soul binding phase. Watch the steel yield. Pham gasped. Pure origin iron? Impossible. A true master starts with the basics. You have to feel the grain of the metal first. Even scrap becomes a godslayer if you know how to strip it to its absolute essence. He crushed a sunstone into the mix, letting the shards bleed into the glowing, molten core. Vin squinted through the steam. I'm blind! Han barked. Don't use your eyes, use your soul! Power surged, knitting the elements. Now! Yun Xiao roared. The blade materialized, spiraling down to bite the earth. A shimmering relic stood before them. They approached the blade as if it were a holy ghost. He struck the furnace. The lid hissed open as the flames spiraled into a cold, dark void. It was over. Yun Xiao slumped, drained. Vin scrambled over, shoving a vial at him. Drink this, boss! He sniffed the brew and tossed it. Trash. I wouldn't even feed this swill to a mule. You expect me to swallow that? Vin wailed. That's a 1,000 gold tonic you just trashed. Pham stepped up, offering his own stash. Master, mine is much cleaner than his junk. Han pushed them aside. Take mine, essence fruits, soul-mending herbs, or the white crane elixir. Yun Xiao paused. White crane? Isn't that for bedroom stamina? Han turned bright red. It's for the elders, Han stammered. Pham frowned. Which elder exactly? Yun Xiao just popped a pill. He sat cross-legged. The rest is garbage. 5 minutes of silence beats your cheap medicine any day. Vin whispered nervously. Boss, you did just swallow a performance enhancer. You feeling all right? Pham snapped at him to be quiet. They watched him, still reeling from the miracle they'd witnessed. It felt like a fever dream. Their reality had been shattered by a boy with a hammer. He exhaled, eyes snapping open. Drained. That took more out of me than I expected. Vin gaped. You've recovered 1/3 of your power already? That's impossible. Relax. Being a low-rank novice has its perks. Recharging is a breeze compared to you old-timers. Bull, Vin muttered. I'm the same rank, and it takes me a full 7 days to bounce back. Don't compare my genius to your incompetence. We aren't even playing the same game. He weighed the steel in his hand. Decent work. Exactly what I had in mind. Well, masters, give me your verdict. Pham bowed. Please, just call me Pham. I'm no master here. They reached out, their senses bleeding into the metal. Well? Yun Xiao asked. Speak up. Pham trembled. It's flawless. Like the earth itself birthed it. I can feel the raw power humming. I've never seen metal this alive. Its pure essence, stripped of every single imperfection. Is this its true form, Master? Can it evolve further? What happens when it breaks its limits? I locked the energy into the core. It's stable now, so don't expect a mid-fight transformation. But you saw the sunstone, didn't you? Han's eyes widened. Wait, gravity manipulation? Exactly. I wove a twin gravity matrix into the blade while the metal was still screaming. Watch. The air around the blade started to buckle and groan under its own weight. Pham gasped as the floor cracked. 10 times the normal weight. How? That's just the first stage, 10 times gravity leaking out of the blade. There's a second layer stacked on top. Combined, They hit with 100 times the normal weight. If I had more sunstone, I would have tripled it. A thousandfold pull is the true goal. But let's be real, this steel couldn't handle that kind of pressure. It would just disintegrate. The moment that third seal broke, the blade and likely the wielder would cease to exist. Pham and Han just stood there, staring at the weapon with a look of absolute terror. Their jaws hit the floor. A triple-sealed blade still capable of 3 more surges? That power is unheard of. Master, may we analyze this for a few days? Let 3 bottom feeders poke at my steel, then what do I carry? Your pathetic toy sword? Their faces turned a sickly shade of gray. I felt like a fool for bragging earlier. Nobody can know I made it. Gurong watched them squirm with a smug grin and crossed arms. One day, you will realize that his insults are actually a rare privilege. This is a training tool. It subjects me to 10 times normal gravity. Massive weight fuels rapid growth. A heavy blade needs no sharpened edge. I am calling her Blackie. The name alone nearly gave them a stroke. Master, what does that name have to do with the blade? Absolutely nothing. I call it whatever I want. Shut up, you waste of space. Gurong backed off. I moved toward the forge to check the batch. Hours had passed, yet the medicinal aroma remained sharp and invigorating. Inside sat 2 flawless orbs and several fragments. They leaned in, stunned. The purity is staggering. Gurong beamed, proud to even be my shadow. Fine. Thanks for the workspace. I will settle your debts of ignorance now. 30 minutes. Ask anything. Martial arts, inscriptions, or complex arrays. I will even teach you how to flirt. I tucked the pills away. Their eyes lit up like children. Are you actually serious? These 2 were local celebrities, but I was once a god of craft. Emperors begged for my guidance. These men were barely beginners to me. Tutoring them was like letting a child copy a doctoral thesis. Time is up. They bowed low. Thank you, Grandmaster, for lighting our dark paths. I waved them off. I am out. Maybe I will teach you more later. What do you make of him? The old man asked his companion. He is a bottomless ocean. I once studied under the great Yang Di. This boy feels exactly like that legend, perhaps even more terrifying. If he were Yang Di's student, he would never deny his lineage. Then he is something else, something far deeper than any known legend. I arrived at the girl's house. She was stumbling through the door. Master, what are you doing here? She looked at my face and froze. What happened? You look dangerous. Where is the boy? He went to the mines with the neighbor as soon as he woke. Suddenly, the boy burst in, covered in soot and grinning ear to ear. Master, sister, look, I found a fortune in raw ore today. I did not speak. I just stepped forward and backhanded him. Get on your knees. The boy spat blood, his eyes burning with rage. Why did you hit me? Because I am the teacher you ignored. Did you practice your forms? Or did you spend the day digging dirt? I need to provide. My sister should not have to suffer alone. The girl begged him to stop, but he screamed at me. Apologize? You are not a teacher. You just bully people and teach garbage. Kneel! I snapped. A flick of my wrist sent energy through his leg. Crimson sprayed the floor. He collapsed, clutching his wound in agony. He erupted in a blind fury, screaming that it was unfair since I was barely 1 year older than him. Surpassing me would take him only 12 months, he claimed, daring me to end him if I had the guts. I looked at the pathetic brat and spat. You're a disgrace. If you want death, I will gladly provide it. His sister Vu rushed between us, terrified because she knew I wasn't the type to make empty threats. She lashed out at him. Have you lost your mind? I didn't raise you to be this ungrateful. Apologize now. Before he could respond, a neighbor named Dai Gwen, a seasoned warrior, barged in to see what the chaos was. The boy cried out for help immediately. Nguyen looked at the siblings, demanding to know what was going on. Vu pointed at me, claiming I had forced her brother into an apprenticeship and was now threatening his life. Nguyen sized me up, noting I was a 3-star warrior. He saw my talent but hated my blatant arrogance. I didn't back down. And who are you supposed to be? I don't remember asking for your input here. He flared up, rolling his sleeves. You arrogant pup, you're barely a man, yet you're playing master? It is time. Someone taught you a lesson. Vu tried to stop him, yelling that her brother was just talking nonsense. But the boy doubled down. I'm not lying. If I have to learn, it should be from a pro. Nguyen grinned. Fine. I'll take you on. Once you hit warrior rank, we will start a mercenary squad. We will make 100 times what you earn in those mines. The kid's eyes lit up with greed. You be the boss. I'll be second. Teach me the tiger fist. Nguyen laughed, feeling like a hero. I will show you the diamond strike and iron palm too. But first, let me handle this strange brat. Vu grabbed his arm, her voice trembling. She knew that even as a 5-star fighter, he stood no chance. He brushed her off, telling her to relax. I am just going to rough him up a little bit. I stood my ground, my voice like ice. I won't move, dodge, or even strike back against you. 35. I won't even tap into my internal energy. If you can leave a single scratch on me today, I will drop to my knees and lick your boots clean. Their jaws hit the floor at my audacity. Infuriated, Nguyen lunged. You little punk, you have no idea how small you really are. Stand still then. Even a legendary emperor couldn't tank my iron palm without defending. Taste the power of my strike. I didn't flinch. I simply released a crushing wave of killing intent, my eyes locking onto his soul. As I whispered the forbidden binding art, his momentum vanished and he began coughing up thick, dark blood. The siblings screamed in horror as Nguyen collapsed. Kneel, I commanded, and he fell as if possessed. He was broken at my feet. Get over here and start cleaning my boots, I said coldly. The boy was frantic, begging his hero to get up and use his special moves to crush me. As Nguyen crawled toward me, I delivered a brutal kick to his face. You aren't even worthy of this. The boy watched, paralyzed, as his idol was sent flying across the room and knocked out instantly. He couldn't believe his eyes. A powerhouse like Nguyen had been treated like a stray dog. I turned my gaze to the kid. You were so eager for death earlier. It is your turn now. Vu threw herself at my feet, sobbing. Master, please! He is just a foolish child who knows nothing. I sighed, looking at his raw potential. Forget it. I have no interest in training such pathetic trash. I turned to leave, but a desperate scream stopped me. The boy was trembling, dropping to his knees. He crawled toward me, ignoring his sister, and grabbed my robe with shaking, bloodied hands. Don't go, please, teach me your ways. I was wrong, master. I finally see the truth now. I don't waste time on failures, I replied. He began slamming his head against the floor in desperation. He begged for mercy, and his sister joined in, promising he would never step foot in the mines again. He will stay home and focus entirely on his cultivation, but the boy cut her off with a shout. I'll still provide for us, but I'll master everything you teach me. I won't fail you again. One chance, I said. Open 7 energy gates and reach first-tier warrior status in 5 days. If you fail, stay out of my sight forever. He went silent. Vu gasped. 5 days? That is impossible! The boy's eyes were finally lit with a fierce, burning resolve. He gritted his teeth and accepted. I gave the boy 5 days. A deadline to prove his worth. I'll return then, I said, heading to the local hotel. I holed up nearby, pushing my gravity training to 10%. Meanwhile, the Alchemist Guild was spiraling. Their leaders, Shu Han and Zhang Qingfan, had suddenly vanished into total, deep seclusion. The city buzzed with rumors about their mysterious, high-stakes disappearance. 5 days later, I emerged, now a 4-star martial artist. I heard screams at the house. Stop! You're killing yourself. Just a little more, he gasped, poison veins bulging out. You'll die, she cried. Then I'll die a warrior, he spat. He surged, energy exploding. He was now a rank 1 warrior. I did it, sis, he cheered, despite his blackened, toxic skin. Look at yourself. I'm finding Master Yun. Only he can help. I appeared instantly. Still making a mess? Let's get to work. Master, I did it, he shouted. I just shoved him down. Sit, I commanded. Time to drain that filth from your veins. I channeled my energy, pulling the black rot from his body. He exhaled. The pain is gone, but I still feel strong. That's the heavenly poison body, I explained. The toxin is fuel. The deadlier the poison, the more power you will eventually wield. But right now, your weak body can't handle the raw heat. As you level up, you'll master the source, not just survive. Once you find balance, you'll weaponize that rot against every enemy. At your rank, you will be completely and utterly invincible. Master, are there others with strange powers like mine out there? The world is full of monsters. Keep walking, you'll find them. So the poison is actually a good thing? He asked, surprised. Of course. Why else would I be taking it for myself? He realized I'd been scavenging his leftovers. I handed him pills. These will hold the rot back for 3 days at a time, but the only real cure is to keep rising in rank. I handed the sister a pill. Take this. Stop being weak. A UN charging pill? This costs 5,000 gold pieces. I stayed silent. My past creations were worth 10 million stones. Uncle La walked in. Mining today? He froze when he saw me. Uncle, look! I'm a warrior, the kid bragged. The man trembled. He's a monster, the man whispered. I beckoned him over coldly. Don't hurt him, master, the boy pleaded. I ignored the child. Your name? I asked. Just Uncle Le, he stammered, shaking. I glared. No one is my elder. Real name. Now. Or die. Le die, Nguyen, he shrieked, nearly collapsing in fear. I let him go. What's the word on the city streets? He swallowed hard. The State Duke's mansion. It's been seized. Everything is under lockdown, he whispered. The world is changing. I narrowed my eyes. The game was finally getting interesting. I sent Nguyen deep undercover to bleed our family's secret mining operation dry tonight. Infiltrate them, I whispered. Find those purple sunstones. 500 gold pieces each. 500? Bach gasped. Nguyen just smirked. The miners are all my old crew anyway. If those stones exist, I'll find them. Nguyen vowed before vanishing into the shadows. He left, grinning. I turned to the others. Clean up. We're crashing a palace gala. The palace? They stammered. I didn't answer, dragging them straight to the high-end tailors. While Vu obsessed over silk and Bach tried on lipstick, I felt the walls closing. Urgent business, I lied, backing away. I'll meet you at the palace gates at sunset. I bolted. No business, just a craving for street food and the sweet taste of freedom. Suddenly, a masked shadow whispered my name and sprinted toward the city's dark underbelly. Lame, I muttered, flicking my empty bamboo skewer like a deadly, precision-guided missile. The wood curved through the crowd. The stranger realized too late he couldn't outrun me. It tore through his palm. He gasped, more shocked by the sugary scent than the blood. I lunged, pinning his shoulder. His internal power instantly locked behind an iron wall. Bystanders gaped as I dragged him away. He couldn't believe a failure like me was this strong. I shoved him into a filthy alleyway. Talk! Who are you and who sent you? He groaned, yanking the wood out. I just wanted to lure you away, young master. He pulled off his mask. It's me, Li Hien, from the Duke's personal guard, sir. Hien? Why aren't you with my uncle? I growled. This better be life or death. The rumors, he stammered, crushing a 9-star warrior in one hit, saving the dying princess. He looked at me with pure terror. You've been playing us all for fools, haven't you? Get to the point, I snapped. Your uncle knows you're heading to the palace tonight. I turned to leave. If he's lecturing me, I'm gone. Wait, it's about Li Yi. He's watching you. If you show up tonight, Li Yi will strike to kill, master. The fourth master begs you to stay away. Don't start a war you can't finish. I laughed. Li Yi? He's a glorified house pet who was lucky to get our name. If he stays in his cage, fine. If he barks at me, I'll bury him. Hien trembled. Don't be reckless. He's powerful and he's not working alone, sir. He's already seized control of the family while you were playing the spoiled brat. Your father is paralyzed with worry for the old master. That's why he hasn't moved. Just lay low. Once we're ready, we'll wipe these traitors out in one clean sweep. You're all playing checkers while the world burns. I scoffed. I know his real boss. It's not some secret cult. The king is the one pulling the strings here. How else could a nobody lead? The throne wants our family divided and weak. Hien went pale. He'd only just heard these theories from the Duke's inner circle. He stared at me like I was a monster. How? How did you figure that out? It's simple math, I said. Grandfather is a legend. Father has a 1,000,000-man army. If you were the king, could you sleep knowing we control the entire nation's military? He's using Li Yi to rot us from within and keep my father shackled. It's a perfect trap. And my family is walking right into the center of it. Hien looked broken, his hope vanishing. Are we just doomed then, young master? Go back to my uncle, I said. Tell him to keep playing his little role. Tell him I'm coming to the party, and tell him not to worry about me. I'm not interested in their politics, but if they touch my life, I'll end them. I walked away without looking back, leaving him alone in the cold, dark alley. Li Yi's playing a dangerous game. If he's that bored of being king, I'm happy to help him retire. I walked off, leaving Li Xian gaping like a fish at the palace gates as the elites arrived. These state dinners are basically high-stakes shark tanks. Everyone's there to buy favors or bury their enemies. Han Bai and Chen Zhou intercepted me. Where the hell have you been, Yun? Han barked, slapping my back. Chen's face went pale as he clutched his swollen hand. What are you made of? Touching you nearly broke me. Han laughed at his friend's misery. I just pulled out 2 shimmering gems. Swallow these, I said. These will break your limits. Consider it a fast track to becoming a real warrior, I told them. Chen gaped. No way. I've barely opened my 4th channel. Han peered closer at the pills, totally skeptical. Is this a prank? Spirit pills are supposed to be dull gray. These look like literal diamonds. Eat them or don't, I snapped. The Grandmaster himself brewed these. They didn't need a second invitation. Then Meng Wu appeared, looking stunning in crimson and white, a far cry from her usual tavern disguise. Beside her, her brother waved. My 2 friends just stood there with their mouths hanging wide open. She looks familiar, Chen whispered. Han's eyes nearly popped. Wait, that's the girl from the pub. He leaned in, grinning. Keeping the best for yourself, Yun? How's your stamina holding up these days? Chen joined in. Who knew that plain Jane cleaned up like a goddess? You've got a sharp eye. A real diamond in the rough, Han added. Meng Wu blushed and looked away, clearly flustered by them. I put an arm around her. Let's get this straight. This is Meng Wu, and my new apprentice, her brother. Meng Bai bowed respectfully. The guys were floored. Wait, you're actually taking on a student now? Han scoffed. You're really taking on kids just to get close to the sister? That's low, Yun. Mengbai snapped at me. Wait, you only took me on because of her? He got a smack for that. We moved into the inner sanctum. This was the VIP lounge where the real power players were gathered. Li Yi was already there, acting like he owned the place, until he spotted us walking in. My uncle, Li Baifeng, sat beside him. He still saw me as the family's biggest, most useless disappointment. He couldn't reconcile the failure he knew with the man who was currently commanding the entire room. Across from us sat the head of civil service, Lam Huang, and the legendary General Xiao Qing Wang. The general watched me closely, remembering how I'd saved the princess with a few silver needles. The princes were also watching. They knew tonight wasn't just a party, it was going to be my show. Sit down, Li Yi commanded. Family belongs together, even the ones who usually hide in the shadows. The room went cold. I turned to Meng Wu. Ever wonder why our nostrils face down, Meng? She looked confused. Why? I pointed at Li Yi, who was practically vibrating with unearned arrogance. Because if they faced up, a little rain would drown a man this full of himself. I joked. Li Yi spat out his wine in a spray. The room erupted. The insult was absolutely surgical. The lambs struggled to keep straight faces, but the general just roared. This kid is something else. Li Yi slammed his cup down, screaming my name. His guard lunged at me, barking about respect. The man moved like a blur, hand outstretched to crush me for disrespecting the clan's supreme leader. I stood up, tossed my water aside, and backhanded him so hard the sound echoed like a gunshot. I drove an elbow into his gut, shredding his shirt and sending him flying across the marble floor. He landed broken and wheezing at my feet. I caught my falling glass without even looking at him. The room went silent. Li Yi was shaking, his face turning a shade of purple I'd never seen. I kicked the guard toward Li Yi's table. I remember when you were just a useful servant, I sneered. Watch your dogs, brother. Or better yet, watch your own neck. You're looking a little fragile lately. Servants should know their place, or they end up as dog food, I added, leaning in close. Not tonight, I told the room. I'd hate to ruin the royal carpets. Li Yi finally snapped. He drew his blade and lunged. I didn't even blink. Before he could reach me, I had vanished. The general's hand flicked out, sending Li Yi spinning back. That's enough, the old man boomed. The king signaled for the feast to begin. Commander Xiao is right, General Yang barked, his finger accusing me. Clear a spot for young Master Li, a servant whispered. I ignored the stares, coolly pouring another drink. Li Yi's face burned. He slammed the table, pointing a shaking finger at me. Brace yourself, Yun Xiao. A storm is coming for you. Beside him, Bai Feng watched. Barking dogs don't bite, I muttered, sipping. Prince Xiaoqing looked at me, his mind racing. My previous movements, they were too perfect. He'd seen my strike fluid as water, effortless, and lethal. My martial intent flowed without restraint, defying every rule he ever knew. No mere soldier could possess such mastery. It was a depth of power even he could not begin to fathom or explain. Then, the room went silent. The king had arrived. We all stood together, bowing our heads in a display of rehearsed humility. Long live the king, the chorus echoed. Emperor Qinzheng of the Tianshui kingdom gestured for us to rise. At his side stood Princesses Ru Shui and Yun Shang. Their eyes swept the hall, landing on me as the only one who had not bowed properly. I just raised my glass. Tonight we celebrate, the king announced. First, Commander Yun Shang has achieved alchemist status, a true genius. And second, my daughter Ru Shui is finally cured of her lifelong affliction. The room erupted in cheers for the royal family. I am overjoyed, he smiled. Prime Minister Lan Huang stepped forward. A blessing from the heavens, Your Majesty. Your line is favored. I congratulate the commander and the princess. To mark this occasion, I have prepared a humble tribute for this great day. His servants opened a box, spilling brilliant white light across the hall. 2 moon pearls from the East Sea sat inside. Rarities that took years to find, he claimed. Then it was Prince Xiao's turn to present his gifts to the ladies. The minister is generous, Xiao chuckled. Those must be worth 100,000 gold pieces. I cannot match that vast wealth. Instead, I offer 2 scrolls, the Solar Axe technique and the Pure Heart scripture for their personal growth and protection. The Solar Axe? Yunsheng whispered, stunned. The legendary technique of the Six-Path Master from over 100 years ago? Thank you, Commander, they both said, bowing deeply to the old warrior. Then Liang Wanwu stepped up with his offering. A second-grade youth elixir. It guarantees 20 years of frozen beauty, he boasted, holding up the small, glowing, medicinal vial. Finally, Li Yi moved forward, eyes fixed on the commander. Such elegance deserves only the finest treasures in the land. I commissioned the kingdom's greatest master to carve this hairpin from pure heart jade, he said, presenting the ornate accessory. Pure heart jade? Liang gasped. the legendary stone that wards off internal demons during cultivation and focuses the mind. It focuses the mind and shields the soul, Li Yi boasted. A treasure I secured specifically for the beautiful commander. Only she is worthy of such a gem, he added smoothly. Yunshang thanked him politely, though her eyes remained distant. Then he turned to Princess Ru Shui. Your beauty is legendary, Princess. I have long admired your grace and spirit. I struggle to find anything in this world truly worthy of your presence or your high royal status. Murmurs broke out. The guy was practically proposing in public. Ru Shui looked visibly uncomfortable, her face growing pale. She looked like she wanted to disappear. Then, Li Yi pulled a glowing object from his robe with a flourish. I sent men to the Fire Crow Empire to fetch this a spirit beast egg. A gift for you, Princess. I hope you love it. The room gasped. A spirit beast? These creatures were the apex predators of the entire Tianwu continent, feared by everyone. Even the strongest warriors gave them a wide berth. Many had tried to tame them as loyal guardians for their personal armies. Most failed. Their feral energy was too volatile, and their instincts were too savage for any human to ever control. But there was a trick, a brilliant, expensive way to ensure total loyalty from the moment the creature is born. You bond with the egg daily. When it hatches, you are the first thing it sees, the only thing it loves. A raised beast is a shadow that never leaves your side. Because of this, the market for eggs had skyrocketed lately. Kids today, Prince Xiao sighed, shaking his head. Buying love with a fortune. That is one hell of a price tag. Ru Shui took the egg with a forced smile. Thank you, Li Yi. But then, my voice cut through the silence. Nice rock, I drawled. It is a real egg, sure, but what is the point of a dead one? Plan on grilling it? Because the inside is completely rotten. It is literal garbage and cannot be eaten or hatched. You bastard, Li Yi screamed. Do you have any idea what this cost? It is worth 1,000 of you. Price does not change the fact that it is a dud, I shrugged. The king leaned in. How can you be sure? He will just keep lying, I said. Crack it open. See for yourself. Li Yi went ballistic, face turning purple. Crack it! If it breaks, you could never pay me back. I looked at Ru Shui. Princess, wait a few months. When it never hatches and starts to smell like a corpse, you will know I was right. Li Yi looked ready to kill. The king warned me to keep my mouth shut without hard proof, citing the princess's life as my only saving grace. He dropped the charges but demanded silence. I just waved him off, my mind already on those monster eggs. Their color and energy were dead giveaways, but they're so rare that no one here could even recognize them. Prince Yang offered 10 dragon pearls to the princess, wishing her a husband as perfect as her face. He then bribed the commander with 10 top-tier stones, pushing him to become the nation's third great general. Wanwu stared. Those pearls were worth a fortune, tens of thousands of gold coins each, easily. Dropping 10 pearls plus 10 elite stones, the sheer wealth in that room was suffocating everyone. High-level warriors crave these stones. Their raw power makes that beast egg look like a cheap toy. Even Yun Chang looked stunned by the sudden display of riches. The prince figured the girl was too noble for simple pearls, but for Yun Chang, they were perfect bait. She wasn't just a pretty face. She was a national guardian, a force of nature. Reaching that rank at her age, she was a walking legend with a bottomless future. The prince knew she was his ticket to the throne, his ultimate political leverage. Beyond power, he wanted her. He'd been obsessed with her beauty for years. He'd been ghosted before, but he bet everything on this one grand gesture. She tried to keep it professional, turning down the heavy gift with a cold, polite bow. He lost it. He lunged forward, dropped to one knee, and begged her to marry him. She didn't even touch him, just used her sheer presence to force him back to his feet. Don't make me embarrass you, she hissed. He couldn't believe he was being rejected again. He screamed that if he wasn't good enough, then no man in this kingdom was. She just turned her back on him, calling him a fool. He was losing his mind. Is there another man? He roared. Tell me his name so I can kill him. The whole room went silent. Even the king leaned in, waiting for a name. Everyone was dying to know who had captured the heart of the kingdom's coldest goddess. I even set my drink down. I had to hear this. Then she spoke. She told us about a mountain of snow and a childhood spent in total isolation. Everything changed when her mentor returned from a journey, acting like a complete stranger. The woman who was once kind became a ghost, bitter, distracted, and drowning in regret. The pressure became unbearable. Her mentor would snap at the slightest mistake, consumed by fury. She'd hear her teacher whispering one specific name through gritted teeth every single night. As a kid, she promised to find that man and break him for making her teacher cry. That name was Gu Fei Yang, the ultimate master whose skills were unparalleled across the entire globe. His creations were more than medicine. They were the very laws of the universe made flesh. Behind the scenes, the elite sovereigns were gathering, acting on a divine order no one dared defy. The most beautiful woman in the world stood before them, holding the keys to ultimate power. She offered 10 legendary pills, the kind that could make a god even stronger. One of the sovereigns admitted he needed that power to break through his own limits. The price was simple. Help them take down the legendary Gu Feiyang. The lords agreed. For 10 pills, they'd do anything, the lady asked. Some thought 10 pills was overkill just to kill one man. They were arrogant. But the others knew better. Gu Feiyang wasn't just a man. He was third on the global rankings. His power wasn't something you could just handle with a few extra soldiers. One warrior claimed he'd just mastered a new technique and wanted to test his luck. The others laughed, telling him he could take the lead when the target arrived. He promised to try, but he knew he'd need every bit of help he could get. What secret hell did you master to think you can survive Gu Feiyang? She asked. He just smiled. Ever heard of the infinite void palm? The room went cold. Everyone froze at that name. The lost art of the void sovereign from 5,000 years ago? Exactly. The ultimate divine strike. Even the strongest legends would be erased by this. He doesn't stand a single prayer against me. My fear vanished as I laughed. My own spear was a legendary artifact of pure slaughter. My reincarnation spear, combined with the 100 battles style, can butcher gods and devils alike. The Duke added, 10 martial emperors and the matriarch. We are an unstoppable force of nature. Not even the top 3 ranked monsters could walk away from this ambush alive, he bragged. I worried the prey had smelled the trap. What if he's too cowardly to show up? Then we just drink and enjoy the mountain view, he replied. His reputation will be dead anyway. This palace was a forbidden paradise. No outsider had ever stepped foot here and lived. Perched on a frozen peak, it felt like a dream. 10 masters waiting for one man. He's hiding, someone sneered, swirling their wine. The great emperor is nothing but a ghost. Rank 3? I mocked. He's just a lucky fraud who hasn't met real power yet. Nobody is insane enough to face 10 emperors at once. It's not a fight, it's a funeral. Could he bring reinforcements? Someone asked. What if 10 more monsters show up to help him? Let them. 10 against 10. We still win. I'll take his head personally, he declared. Then she spoke, her voice like ice. He doesn't need help. He never has. How can you be so sure? I asked. Because, she whispered, he's already standing behind you. I spun around, heart hammering. Where? I don't see anything but the mist. You're dreaming. I'm not guessing, she said, eyes wide. Can't you feel the world starting to scream? Just a mountain breeze, I told myself. Then the wind turned into a roar of thunder. The roof vanished. A hand made of storm clouds reached down to crush our very souls, the palm of the world's end. It moved with the weight of a falling star. Give it everything, she shrieked. If you hold back now, we all die in the dirt. Die! I screamed, unleashing the void palm. My spear hummed with a desperate, killing light. 10 ultimate laws of destruction collided. Long seals, Buddha hands, and frozen hells erupted at once. We threw our entire lives into that one strike, a symphony of violence against the sky. Our combined might was nothing. It was swallowed whole by that giant, indifferent cloud of death. The explosion threw us like rag dolls. We were broken, bleeding, and suddenly very, very small. A golden light pierced the dark. She looked up, her eyes filled with a terrifying devotion. She looked like a child in love. He's still the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. The clouds formed a staircase to heaven. A man stepped down as if walking on water. It was him, Gu Feiyang. He walked past our shattered bodies without even looking down. Why did you force this? He asked. She wept, her heart breaking for the 1,000th time. Let me dance for you one last time, she begged. He sighed. You lost the moment you cared. I lost long ago, she whispered, wiping tears before drawing her blade for a final suicide. You can't kill me, he said calmly. These 10 insects couldn't even scratch my shadow. They were just a distraction, she spat. Bait to waste a fraction of your divine strength. But they were useless. They didn't even make you sweat. She launched herself into the sky. She didn't strike him. She fired a flare. The hidden sisters began the final, forbidden ritual. The starry void array ignited, locking the universe in place. She really wanted him dead. The mountain curse? He asked, looking up. You'd destroy your own home just to kill me? I'll bury us both, she cried, raising the purple sky sword to summon the end of days. That traitorous girl, Hongnian. She's using this battle and the purple sky sword to end Gu Feiyang right here and now. Pure energy rained down in a relentless barrage as I dodged Hongyan's fury, shouting, Purple Star Array! I can channel the celestial power of this divine lightning blade, seizing the mountain's very soul. Atop these snowy peaks, under the ancient stars, I am God. Feiyang, your skills won't save you today. You're finished. I gathered my strength, summoned my steel, and whispered, Old friend, it's all on you. Activating the formation, I declared, against 1,000,000,000 stars, my blade shall carve its own path through heaven. Hongyan's voice drifted like a ghost. In the cold night, don't seek the living, seek the divine. Watching from the shadows, Van Thuong trembled. She prayed for him to hold on, her heart racing with fear. She was mesmerized by that peerless man. My memory of that day ends there, she recounted softly. I woke up to a silent palace. My sisters were gone, leaving me only with my elders. Snow Mountain was a ghost town. I had no choice but to leave and wander the continent alone. I just wanted to see those eyes once more. That's when I realized my master had actually lost. Gu Fei Yang, the vanquisher, had crushed 10 Martial emperors alone, shattering the world's balance of power. The entire continent was in an uproar. His name was everywhere, until the news of his death broke. They said he died at Tianneng. I refused to believe it. Who could possibly kill a god? Later, I stayed at the academy in the Water Kingdom just to be near his famous statue. Back in the present, Van Thuong sighed, her eyes heavy with sorrow as she glanced at Li Vantu. She looked at the boy and froze. His gaze was a mirror image of the great emperor himself. With a heavy sigh, she turned away. Too bad you aren't him. Vantu just stared, completely confused. Tao Duong asked desperately, "Who is he? Am I not even worthy of being in his shadow?" "He's dead," she replied. Tao Duong felt a spark of hope. Then I have a chance. What did he do? If he did it, I can too. Van Thuong looked at him coldly. You really think so? Effortlessly defeated 10 masters. Even the world's beauty couldn't capture his heart. The room fell into a deathly, suffocating silence as she spoke. Van Thuong continued, "Now you know. If you can match even 1% of him, I'm yours." Tao Duong shook. Everyone knew that name, the legend that had vanished 15 years ago. "I'm exhausted," she said, walking away. "I'll be taking my leave." Tao Duong stood there, utterly rejected. The guests were stunned. Li Vantu stood frozen with his drink for several long, awkward seconds. Mong Vu shook him. "Vantu, you okay?" He finally snapped out of it with a weary sigh. The emperor announced the party would continue. Tao Njuet watched her brother mope back to his seat. She thought, if only he'd won her. That would have gained them a master and a legendary army. It would have been a massive power shift. She stepped forward. "Now, it's my turn to present." The feast resumed. Mong Bak whispered, "Master, who was she talking about? Was it Duong Dish?" Mong Vu shook her head. He was Duong Dish's mentor, the peerless Gu Fei Yang from the academy. "Wait, that one?" Mong Bak exclaimed. "I've seen the statue. It's cool, but not exactly a heartbreaker. If he rejected the world's most beautiful woman, the guy must have been a total moron." Mong Vu slapped him. "Watch your mouth." Vantu nearly choked on his water, coughing hard. "What do you know?" Vantu managed to say. "It's called walking through beauty and remaining untouched." Mong Bak scoffed. "Please, if he wasn't an idiot, he was definitely playing for the other team." Tran Chao laughed. "I bet. I've never seen that palace mistress, but they say she's a goddess. Who could walk away from a woman like that? Only a man who doesn't like women." "Get real," I snapped, shoving Chen. "Show some respect to the legends, you idiots." "Respect?" he spat. "He is just some thug who hits harder than the rest." "Exactly," Hanbai sneered. "The world's top beauty is obsessed? He should just rot. A total death sentence." Chen agreed. I boiled with rage, crushing my glass into dust. Ruo Shui looked down at me. "Yun Xiao, what grand gift did you bring for me?" "My rivals flaunted gold," I whispered. "I came for dinner, not to buy your love." "A deadbeat," Li Yi laughed. "Scavenging a free royal meal tonight, are we?" "Scavenge?" I laughed. Ruo Shui leaned in. "Show me your gift. Right now." "Master, show them," Mong Bai urged. "Let these fools see what real class looks like." The king reminded her I saved her. She shrugged. "Gifts are still gifts." I stepped forward. "No gold here. I will play a song for your beauty instead." Li Yi slammed the table. "A song? You broke loser. Who wants to hear noise? We have royal musicians. Stop embarrassing our family with your street performer trash, kid." "8, I said coldly. "Know your place. You are not even qualified to judge me." He shook with rage, but Ruo Sui smiled. "You play? Good. I want to listen." The officials fumed. They spent millions, yet she grinned at me for absolutely nothing. A servant brought the zither. Incense filled the hall. The room went deathly silent. "Your father was a lion," the king noted. "I did not know you were a poet." I let my hair fall and struck the first chord, letting the music take over. I became the melody. Xiao froze, seeing a legendary ghost in my shadow. He was terrified. I radiated the aura of a master. It was chillingly beautiful. My fingers danced across 2 lifetimes, a melody blooming like fire in the dark. The rhythm brought peace. Everything felt alive, breathing along with the soft notes. "The Guangling melody," Ruo Shui whispered, her eyes lost in a dream of longing. Petals swirled around my strings. The entire party watched in a deep, enchanted trance. A soldier burst in. "Majesty, every flower in the garden is blooming at once." The crowd gasped. Spring and winter? My song had woken the gods of nature. Stunning, Ruo Shui murmured. I wish my teacher could hear this miracle tonight. The song ended. Xiao stood. Legend says the great Gu once played for a beauty. He played on a frozen isle, and the divine music woke the sleeping flowers. I never thought a mortal would hear this heaven-sent sound. It is a blessing. This belongs to the stars. How can we humans hear it more than once? I sighed. One dances for beauty, while another ruins nations for the dancer. The king roared with laughter. Incredible. I have never heard anything so perfect in years. My court musicians are hacks. Tell them to pack up and leave. They are fired. Everyone cheered, but Li Yi fumed. A song, my beast egg is worth more? Pathetic, Ruo Shui said. Xiao added, that song was priceless, you blind fool. Commander, please, Li Yi begged. Make him play again. He is just a servant. No, I said, bowing. Divine music needs the perfect soul to truly bloom. There was a beauty then, and the princess now. Nature answered their call, but a brainless thug like you would not understand a word of that. Number 8. Go back to school, I added. Li Yi's face turned a violent shade of purple. Ruo Shui blushed, loving the flattery. I had won the room with a single string. Li Yi coughed. I have a gift for the commander too. Something truly legendary. Actually, he sneered, I have prepared a little something special for Commander Xiao tonight. General Xiao shook his head, refusing to take what he had not earned, but Li Yi persisted, claiming he had heard rumors. Years ago, a brutal duel against the Battle Kingdom's king left the general with internal rot that never truly healed. His power was trapped, stagnant. By sheer luck, Li Yi claimed he had found an aqua dragon purity pill to gift him. The general gasped. A rank 6 miracle? Li Yi smirked, signaling his master alchemist, Fang Zhen, to present the treasure. Fang Zhen, a top-tier expert, stepped forward. He urged the general to take the medicine and reclaim his lost glory. He promised this single pill would purge the darkness from the general's veins, finally ending his long years of agony. One dose and his martial path would reopen. The general gripped the vial, remembering the war that cost him everything. Though he had won that day, the price was his health. For years, his strength had withered instead of growing stronger. Low-grade cures failed. Now, the damage was eating his very lifespan. He was a dying lion, waiting for the end. If he died, the kingdom's shield would shatter. The emperor watched, knowing their national power hung by a single thread. Without Xiao, only one guardian remained. For years, the crown's search for a cure had turned up absolutely nothing. Then Li Yi appeared with an impossible miracle. The emperor looked at him with newfound respect, seeing a savior today. Your merit is unmatched, Li Yi. Name your reward. I will grant you anything you desire, the king declared solemnly. I seek only one thing, Majesty. I wish to marry Princess Ru Shui, Li Yi replied, bowing with hungry eyes. You filthy servant! A toad dreaming of swan meat? Ru Shui screamed, turning to her father in absolute pure disgust. Father, don't agree to this. Li Yi knew his low birth was a cage. He held power, but lacked true status. Enemies were everywhere. To survive, he needed the royal name. This marriage was his ultimate play for total survival. Becoming the prince consort would change his fate forever. Besides, Ru Shui's beauty was a prize he truly craved today. Father, you wouldn't! But Li Yi cut her off, swearing his love was real. He begged the king for mercy. The king sighed. It is not your choice, Ru Shui. Li Yi's service is too great. I can trust him. He risked his life to find that rare beast egg for you. Such devotion is hard to find, he added. A daughter is precious, but the kingdom is eternal. He needed Li Yi to keep the northern clans under control. Ru Shui froze. Her father was trading her away like silk. The betrayal felt like a dagger to her heart. In a rage, she grabbed the gifted egg and smashed it. I don't want your garbage, she screamed as it broke. A vile, sulfurous stench filled the air. Everyone gagged. The rare gift was nothing but a rotten, stinking black mess. See? He brings me rot and calls it love, Ru Shui sobbed, pointing at the foul sludge spreading on the floor. The king frowned. Rare items are hard to judge. Li Yi was likely cheated by a merchant. It wasn't intentional. Li Yi nodded frantically, playing the fool. Yes, Majesty, I was scammed. I will kill the man who sold it. The king dismissed it. The pill is what matters. For your loyalty, I hereby decree that Ru Shui shall be yours. The princess collapsed. Then, my voice cut through the room. Wait, that aqua dragon pill is a total fraud too. I stepped out from the shadows. That pill is a lie. Silence fell. Li Yi began to shake with fear. Accusing someone of fraud before the king is treason. To lie about a hero's cure? That is a death sentence. Who would dare trick General Xiao? Ru Shui looked up, a spark of desperate hope finally lighting her teary eyes. It is a fake! Execute him, she cried. Li Yi turned on me, snarling. I paid a fortune for this. Majesty, he is talking nonsense. Kill him now, Li Yi shrieked, his face twisting into a mask of pure terror. I just pointed at the rotten egg. The king grew cold and ordered Master Liang to examine the blue pill. It looks real, Majesty, Liang whispered. But its rank is too high. I cannot say for certain if it is true. General Xiao looked at me. Prove it, boy. I walked forward, my eyes fixed on the deceptive glowing sphere. The pill has no poison alone. But if it touches a drop of blood, it becomes a lethal, soul-shredding venom. One swallow and the general dies instantly, I warned. The king slammed the table. What? Li Yi stammered in fear. He is lying. The general will be cured. Li Yi's voice cracked like glass. He was a trapped rat now. If I am wrong, take my head. But if he dies, who will pay for his life? I asked, staring him down. How do we test such a treasure? Li Yi blustered. My life is worth more than your petty, jealous insults. It is simple. A tiny scrape of powder mixed with blood. Feed it to a dog. Let it decide. If the animal dies within 10 breaths, you are a traitor. If it lives, I will go to the gallows. I propose we slaughter the beast to extract the essence while there is still time. I lied through my teeth. The emperor considered this, nodding slowly. A ruthless but effective plan. Guards, bring the creature forward. One of you is a bold-faced liar, the sovereign growled, his gaze sweeping over us like a guillotine. I intend to find out who possesses the suicidal stupidity to deceive the throne. I glanced sideways with a bored expression. Number 8. Step up and offer some of your filthy blood. Li Yi's face flushed a violent crimson. Why the hell should I use mine? This was your twisted idea. Because you are the one on trial here, I countered coldly. I muttered 8527 under my breath. Li Yi roared in a blind rage. You absolute piece of trash. What did you just call me? I smirked at his outburst. I was simply calling for my new low-ranked servant. That is his designation. Right on cue, Mengbai hurried into the hall. I am here, master. What do you need? I gestured casually toward the fuming Li Yi. Number 8. Meet your superior. Mengbai didn't miss a beat, bowing deeply. It is an honor to meet such a distinguished elder. Li Yi was physically shaking, his legs turning to jelly as he sputtered incoherent rage. Bai Feng had to catch his arm to keep him from collapsing, while the court erupted in laughter. The onlookers whispered among themselves, sensing that the Li family's internal war had finally reached a boiling point. I pointed toward the golden pill. Number 8. Drip your life onto the medicine. Mengbai froze, his eyes wide with confusion. Wait, why do you need my blood for this? Despite his hesitation, he sliced his palm, letting the crimson liquid coat the sphere. Is that enough? I am practically bleeding out here, the boy complained. I gave him a sharp clip over the ear. It is barely a drop, you brat. Do it properly this time. Once finished, I shoved him aside and addressed the emperor. This medicine turns lethal the moment it touches blood. Even a single drop is enough to drop a king-rank warrior stone dead. I watched the reaction with a hidden smile. Mengbai carried the heavenly poison body. His blood was the ultimate catalyst. Not even a 9th-rank alchemist from my past life could survive this trap. Li Yi was walking straight into his own grave. By using the boy's blood, I had ensured the origin of the poison would be linked directly to the pill he tried to gift. This primordial venom was the root of all corruption. The only way to survive its touch was to physically purge the energy before it reached the heart, a feat impossible for anyone here. The soldiers dragged the hound into the center of the room. As I reached for the pill, Li Yi blocked my hand. Not so fast. Stay back and let the royal guard handle the demonstration. He signaled a sentinel to take the lead. The guard stepped forward, prying the dog's mouth open and forcing the medicine down its throat in one swift motion. Li Yi leaned in close, his eyes darting back and forth as he checked for any reaction. The guard stood back and bowed. Your Majesty, the animal seems perfectly fine. There is no issue. A look of pure triumph washed over Li Yi's face. The emperor's expression turned deathly pale, his heart sinking as he realized he might have to execute me to maintain the law. The sovereign's mind raced, thinking of his daughter's future. He knew he had to find a way to spare my life, even if I had just failed this deadly gamble in front of everyone. You pathetic little rat, Li Yi sneered, his voice dripping with venom. You dared to deceive the crown. Today I am going to enjoy watching you die. Ha ha ha! His laughter was cut short by a sickening thud. He spun around to find the dog already stiff, its skin turning a bruised purple as it rolled over, dead before it hit the floor. Where did this cursed beast come from? Li Yi stammered, his bravado vanishing instantly. The emperor stood up, his voice cold as ice. I believe it is your turn to explain.